South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace joins us now. Congresswoman, great to have you as always. So to review, Biden mocks the press over his own refusal to answer their questions. We've seen really no campaigning for 2024, save for these few billboard ads that they're popping out here. I mean, what should the American people take away from this quote unquote campaign?
Well, Biden certainly doesn't want to answer questions about that investigation, that he'll probably be campaigning from the office, I suppose, and not getting out there on the road. I wonder if he'll actually debate once we get to that point in the general election cycle. But I got to tell you, I mean, this investigation on oversight, the FBI trying to stonewall the committee. They said these documents didn't exist. Come to find out they did. They eventually allowed 2 members of oversight into a skiff yesterday, but the information was redacted and the members couldn't take the documentation with them. And then now we're seeing, smearing of the whistleblowers and confidential informants, and come to find out they don't want to share that document, not because the whistleblower isn't reliable. It's because they're too reliable and they need to protect that whistleblower. So this has just been a very messy week already, and it's Tuesday for the Biden administration.
Well, the Oversight Committee met yesterday, committee that you're on, to discuss this 1024 document that James Comer and Jamie Raskins were able to see yesterday. So get to some specifics here. What did you learn yesterday during that meeting that we might not know?
Well, we learned that this information is credible, that the whistleblower is extremely credible for this investigation. And we said early on, look, we said if the FBI is unwilling to do their job, we will do their job for them. And we weren't kidding. In just over 48 hours, the Oversight Committee will have a markup hearing where we will hold the FBI, Christopher Wray, in contempt if he does not supply the committee with this documentation so all of us can see it. And I would like to see it in an unredacted form, but we'll see what happens. There's 48 hours until that hearing.
At this point, you have to think Wray is willing to hold himself in contempt, because basically that's what's happening here. Basically to tell his bosses in Joe Biden and Merrick Garland, hey, I tried everything, but I just can't keep this away anymore. And that's a sad state of affairs of our democracy. Let's roll the sound bites from the 2 people who did see the document yesterday, Comer and Raskin.
I'm just surprised that my colleagues want to try to litigate this in public, much less hold the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation in contempt for complying with their request when there was a whole process that was undertaken, and that process came to its natural end, as I understand it.
The Oversight Committee will follow the facts and be transparent to the American people with our findings.
What I can't get past, Congresswoman, we know that this document is now unclassified, so there's no security concerns. So shouldn't every single American, Democrat, Republican, other, want to get to the bottom of this and know if our president, when he was vice president, was compromised?
Absolutely. And they haven't fulfilled the obligations of the subpoena because not every member on oversight has had access to that documentation. The American people deserve to know if their president was bought and paid for by communist China, Russia, Romania, and other assets that are not our friends, not our allies around the world. They ought to know that, if we're going to hold one side accountable, if only Republicans are going to be held accountable, if the left is above the law, or Democrats above the law, or people in the administration above the law. And I got to tell you, being out there doing town halls every week in South Carolina, American people want to know that our leaders will be held accountable if there's any corruption whatsoever on either side of the aisle.
Congresswoman, your colleague Anna Paulina Luna tweeted that the FBI is afraid that their informant will be killed if unmasked. Can you confirm that that is true, that that's their real fear? And who would be the one that would be committing this murder if that is true?
Right. Well, we know for weeks now, someone in the administration has been leaking that the whistleblower was not a credible asset. And now come to find out they won't release the documentation because apparently they're too credible of an asset. Ironic how that happens. But there was concern about the safety of the whistleblower in this particular document. But that information is redacted and not included in it.